Hey, Vanessa, thank you so much for helping me test this. So here's the situation. I want to play a video in today's live stream, but I don't know that the audio in the video is coming through or if it's coming through well at all. So I'm about to play a video. Let me know in the comments if you can hear the audio from the video. So it's playing right now. Let me know if you can hear this. Let me turn it up a bit and see if that helps. No, you're probably just picking it up through my microphone. So tell me, I think when I turned it up, you could probably hear it a little bit. It was probably coming in through the microphone. Could you at least understand it? Let's see if you could understand it. I'll play it again and you tell me if you can understand what they're saying. Oh, yes, you can. Okay, great. So I'll probably just run with that until I can figure out the computer audio. For some reason, it's not working properly, but at least I know it'll work for today's stream. So Vanessa, thank you very much for helping me out, and I'll see you in about 9 minutes. All right? Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Hey, good morning, everyone. For those of you joining us in the morning, I hope you're having a fantastic week so far. Hey, and a big thank you to Vanessa and Joseph and Timothy and Jeremy, those who came online early to help me out. Yeah, I'm having some OBS issues, but we can make it work. I have a workaround. It's not elegant, it's not perfect, but it'll allow us to do what we need to do. Mason, Aaron, fantastic to have you along. Glad you're with us this morning. This is actually one of my, I say this every week, don't I? Right? I say this is actually one of my favorite lectures. The good news is you have a teacher who really likes this stuff, right? So that's good. But no, this is really a fascinating one because now we get to bring we're adding the last element of capitalism into the mix, and we get to look at all 5 elements all together, and this is kind of exciting, and we get to see how this goes moving forward. So I'm going to assume that you can hear me because Vanessa said she could hear me earlier. So with that, we will go ahead and jump right in. And you know what? Since we had some folks come in early to help me out, we're going to go ahead and give you some points there. Absolutely. All right. Yes, Jeremy says, yep, totally can. Good. Okay, so what we're talking about today, and by the way, I will be doing a quick update at the end of this lecture about our next lecture on Thursday because you're like, well, hold on, that's spring break. Yeah, we'll talk. So, any case, Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations. There is not an economic major on the face of this, well, in this country, I should say, who has not read Wealth of Nations. This is truly a seminal work when it comes to modern economic thought. And so it's kind of exciting to be able to explore it here a little bit today. Now, as I say, we explore it. That doesn't mean we accept everything on face value. We explore it, remember? So let's take a look here real quick. And that's the wrong button. Let's do the right button. And that's the wrong button as well. Holy smoke, does Lon have his act together today or what? Okay, let's get this right. Okay, so why is it not working? Oh my gosh. I am having issues today. Let's close this down. Now it's working. What is the deal today? I'll tell you what, it's because I didn't change my shirt. I'm wearing casual wear instead of a button down. Okay, so let's take a moment, everyone, and let's see if we can name the 5 ingredients of capitalism, the 5 aspects. Now, just so you know, the first 4 we've discussed, but we have not yet discussed the 5th. But you've already kind of learned about the 5th a little bit, especially through the video of iPencil that I sent out that we will discuss, right? So let's take a moment and you tell me, just type on in there, what are the elements of capitalism, the 5 elements. Okay, fantastic. Let's take a look at these. By the way, so counting these up, we have we have 5 contributors, so that means that we're at 6. And I saw 6 awesome comments. That's going to get us to 9. And now I just see one from Joseph, which is going to get us to 10. So right away, okay, we have ourselves our first 10. All right, so let's look at these. All right, you guys got them. Of course you got them, right? And some of you kind of went into the details. So Timothy, yes, Timothy, thank you. 8, 35, 10. 8, 35, 10. Absolutely. Some of you went into the details a little bit, like Timothy, you talked about people and resources. Mason, you talked about property. You're talking about, ownership of property, right? Private capital and so forth. Absolutely. So you guys know them. Let's look at them. The first one that we talked about was profit motive. And profit motive just basically says that you can never have enough. You can never have enough. You will always work, you will always strive, you will always seek to increase your material, position, your comfort. You always want more. Now, that's actually, it's not greed per se. It's really just this sense of eternal progression, of constantly pushing forward. The reason why we as a species, mankind, is where we are today is because we constantly strive to push forward. This idea comes into the profit motive. And then we have private wealth or capital, right? You guys talked about this. Mason, when you said property, Timothy, you talked about resources. What you're really talking about is private wealth, capital, ownership, right? It's not owned by the state. It's not owned by the collective. It's owned by me. It's owned privately, okay? And the idea of capital, of reinvestment over and over, right? And then we talked about free markets. You guys totally brought this up. Timothy, you said marketplace. Joseph, you said free market. Absolutely. Jeremy brought up economic freedom. Yes. By the way, profit rights was in there and so on. So free markets, economic freedom, absolutely. The idea is free and unfettered competition. You can go into any business you want. Markets can compete openly and fairly, and that way we're going to get the best prices at the best quality with the best functions and features and innovation and all that. The fourth one was laissez-faire, okay? Which economic freedom plays into that. Laissez-faire is no regulation. Don't regulate the system. The system, according to the philosophy of laissez-faire, the system is a natural system. It's a naturally occurring environment, and you don't try to regulate the environment. Anytime you try to regulate the environment, you screw it up. Just let the environment manage itself. There will always be an equilibrium. Just let it be. Well, now, the fifth one that we are talking about today is the invisible hand. The invisible hand, in my opinion, is the most mind-blowing element. Even though you may not be familiar with terms that we've been using, things like, profit motive and private wealth and free markets, laissez-faire, you've always known about these things. Invisible hand is one of those more kind of abstract ideas that's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but is insanely powerful. And so that's what we're going to explore today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from the reading, and then as we normally do, we'll translate it, right? Okay, so as every individual, therefore, endeavors as much as he can both to employ his capital in support of domestic industry And so to direct that industry that its produce may be of greatest value, every individual necessarily labors to render the annual revenue of society as great as he can. Okay, what does that mean? Well, in translate, it means as you work your ass off and invest your time, money, and energy to better your lot, you're going to help society. Okay, this is a key aspect of the invisible hand. You may not necessarily be actively working to help society. You're actively working to help your family, to help yourself, to help those close to you. And yet, you're going to benefit society anyway. Let's keep looking to see how we do this. So, he generally, and let's see, okay, so Jeremy, an example would be individual making a decision to buy coffee and a bagel and make them better off. That person's decision will make the economic society better as a whole. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're caught talking about coffee. Reed talked about pencils. Same difference. Very good. Okay. He generally indeed neither intends to promote the public interest nor knows how much he is promoting it. Okay. So when I'm working in my own self-interest, I'm actually working in the interest of society, buying that cup of coffee, making a pencil. But I don't know how much I'm helping society, and I don't really care. By preferring the support of domestic to that of foreign industry, he intends only his own security, and by directing that industry in such manner as its produce may be of greatest value, he intends only his own gain. And he is in this, as in many other cases, led by an invisible hand to promote the end which was no part of his intention. Okay, translation. In fact, it is in no way his intent to help society. He's just in it for himself. Regardless, help society he does, even though it was not his intention. Here is the grand promise, the grand idea behind the invisible hand. The idea is that if I work for myself, if I buy a cup of coffee, I am actually helping many other people. I'm helping the person who made the coffee. I'm helping the person who grew the beans. I'm helping the distribution channels and everything. I have benefited society to a tremendous degree by buying this cup of coffee. But that wasn't my intention. My intention was just to get a cup of coffee, right? Okay, continuing on. Nor is it always worse for society that it was no part of it, meaning his intention. By pursuing his own interest, he frequently promotes that of society more effectually than he does intend to promote it. I have never known much good done by those who affected to trade for public good. It is an affection, indeed not very common among merchants, and very few words need to be employed in dissuading them from it. Translating that once again, and in fact, society is in no way worse off just because he did not intend to help society. The invisible hand is smarter than designed public policy or intent. So here's the thing. The invisible hand says, all I need to do is go about my own daily life and operate in my own self-interest. I'm selfish. I'm just doing what I want to do for me. And in so doing, I am going to, without intention, help society. And furthermore, I'm going to help society a heck of a lot more than any sort of regulation or policy that kind of forces us to help society, according to this. Jeremy, it is a trickle-down effect, one purchase effect, those behind the product. Yes. So give you an example. Let's talk about this class right now, right? And by the way, I have totally lost track. Let me make sure I have the right window set up. We are now totally in our next level of awesome comments. So we are now at our next 10. And actually, now that I think about it, coffee and so forth, we've had real world examples. We've had a couple of real world examples. Let me offer you one of my own. I love teaching. I really love teaching. It helps students, which if I help students, that means that you grow greater skills. And because you have greater skills, you can provide more value to your employers. And because you can provide more value to your employers, they will pay you more. And because they pay you more, you can provide a greater standard of living to your family. And that provides greater opportunity. So that's not why I teach. I teach because I love to teach. Now, I really like knowing, or at least believing, that I can help the material circumstance of my students. I'm really bought into that. But I teach because I love teaching. But I'm helping society. You, in the same way, you're a student, not because you heard there was this guy out there named Lon Schiffbauer who really enjoyed teaching, and you kind of felt it was really important to you individually to help Lon become a better teacher and to help the school grow. No. You're not in school to help me. You're in school to help you. But in so doing, you're helping me. And you're helping the school. And you're helping the economy. And you're helping local business. So this is the invisible hand at work. There is no grand master planning all this. It's just happening organically. And that is the mind-blowing thought. And so, in other words, when we pursue our own economic self-interest, we inevitably benefit others, even if it was in no way our intent. That's the takeaway. Now, I sent you the video here to iPencil. It's in the announcements if you did not see it. This is the video that I said is just as good and nice and short and tells a good story as the reading. The reading is a very good essay, don't get me wrong, but he's academic. He takes kind of a long time to kind of get to his point because he just likes to relish in the concept. I get that. I'm guilty of that myself. The video is nice and straightforward, and it basically says that it takes an entire world, it takes an invisible hand to make a pencil. Because when you think about it, okay, there's the lead, there's the wood, there's the paint, there's the metal, there's the rubber, right? Well, all these things needed to be produced. And then the people who produced them needed tools. So people needed to produce the tools. And everybody who was producing all this stuff needed to be fed. So that kept the farmers in business and the restaurants. And of course, all this stuff has to be shipped all over the place. And so distribution channels are helping to make this happen. So at the end of the day, no one person can make a pencil. So Jeremy says another real world example. So I'm going to go ahead and anticipate. Oh, no, I'm going to go ahead and anticipate this. Is by gaining experience throughout life, you pass on your knowledge to benefit society. You may have learned a lot of your own self-importance, but inevitably pass it on. Yes, you can learn a ton for yourself, but then you end up passing it on, and you have what in organizational psychology we call this institutional knowledge or organizational learning. Organizational learning is when knowledge gets passed down. So yes, absolutely. Very good. So the thing that I really like about this concept of invisible hand is another class I teach is international business, global trade. And in that class, I make an assertion that you cannot name a single product that is 100% made in America. There is no such thing as a product made solely in America. Now, if you want to challenge me and give me an example, I'd love to see an example. But the reason I can say this with a high degree of confidence is because of the invisible hand. The invisible hand says that it is all global. So, Jeremy, you say food products. No, I disagree. I'll even tell you this one. I have a garden in my backyard. And in that garden are now the last of the tomatoes, right? Those tomatoes aren't 100% made in America, not by a long shot, okay? First of all, I had to buy the seeds. I bought the seeds. Well, the seeds were packaged and distributed around the country. Well, the materials that went into the fuel for that distribution system, for the trucks that drove it, the roads and so forth, that was all globally sourced. Everything is globally sourced. And I'd even say that you're not made in America, because we have all eaten food. If you've eaten a banana, my friend, out of season, you're not 100% made in America, because you have had inputs into you. And of course, you, Jeremy, have done several tours. So you've actually grown up in other countries to some extent. You're not made in America. So, yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Buy American, dude, right? But here's the thing. The invisible hand says nothing is made in one place ever, right? Because everything is globally sourced. So I really enjoy that idea. Don't get me wrong. I try to buy local. All this camera equipment and everything, I buy local because I think that's important and where I can. But here's the thing about buying American, by the way. If you really want a good American car, I mean good, solid, sturdy American car, buy Toyota. Yeah, look at the stats sometimes. Okay, so let's keep going. All right. Now, the thing I like about this, and just kind of a little example, is you've probably heard of the 6 degrees of separation. There's this fun website out there called the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, the Oracle of Kevin Bacon. And the thing that's really fun about it is the 6 degrees of separation theory says that we are so interconnected that everybody on the planet is separated by everybody else on the planet by no more than 6 degrees of separation. And what that means is I know someone who knows someone, that's 1 degree of separation, who knows someone, who knows someone, who knows someone, and eventually you get to 6 degrees of separation, okay? And the reason they love to use Kevin Bacon is because he's been in so many movies with so many people that you can kind of place 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon. Now, by the way, Jeremy said, what about things naturally occurring in American forests? Now, still doesn't count as made in America because they're using, wind, air and sunlight and all kinds of global resources. Air and water is circulated globally. Water, through the form of rain, is circulated globally. So, yeah, no, still totally not made in America, man. You're using European water. So, it's just a fun thought. That's all I think. How do we get those products to market, right? Yeah, if you actually then harvest them, right? And then you got to cut them down with a chainsaw by some guy who ate a taco, right? Okay. So, continuing on. This is what I want to do now. This is where things get a little weird, and I love it. And this is what I kind of had to figure out. I actually want to watch this movie here. So if I come over here to monitor and I pull this up, we're going to watch a cartoon. Okay? I couldn't get the sound to work quite right, so the sound is basically just going to come through this mic, which is not an elegant solution, but it should work okay. This cartoon is an American economic propaganda cartoon made back in the 1940s. And so it's a cartoon and it's silly. It's probably done by a lot of the same people who did Looney Tunes and so forth. So those of you who are old like me, you remember all the Looney Tunes. Nevertheless, all the elements of capitalism are expressed in this cartoon. Okay, we're talking profit motive, private capital, free markets, laissez-faire, invisible hand, all that stuff. Okay, so as we watch this, I'm going to pause it at several points to kind of say, okay, what are we seeing here? All right, and kind of tell you a little bit about what's going on. So let's give this a whirl. Let me know in the comments fairly early on if this just is not working in terms of sound. Hopefully it does. And don't worry, it's not started yet.
Our story begins. He is headed for the old fishing hole. Uh-oh. Too bad. Freddie had helped his mother make soft soap to sell to their friends and neighbors.
Shucks, if I didn't have to work. Think of all the fun I could be having.
Okay, so first of all, let's pause here and let's see. Are there closed captions? No, I'm afraid there are not. Not with the way I have this set up. I ought to look into that. Thank you. I need to just fix the system. So maybe what I'll do is I'll move the microphone a little closer to make it work this next time. We'll see if we can make this work. So we got Freddie here. We got this kid who wants to have fun. He wants to go fishing. He wants to go fishing. He wants to play baseball. He wants to go swim in the water hole. But he can't because he's got chores to do. Okay? So that's kind of our world building here, if you will. We got a kid who wants to go fishing, but he can't because he's that's right, Jeremy, I'm with you. And so he can't because he has chores to do. Let's see what happens.
Gee.
Freddie tries to figure out an easier and quicker way to make soap. He goes to work to make his dreams of fun come true. After years of working night and day, Freddie's experiments bring success.
Soap in cakes.
Okay, so let's review. So the kid wants to go fishing, right? And so this creates innovation. He wants to figure out how to get this chore done faster, more efficiently, so that he can have time to then go fishing. Now, the profit motive is totally at work here because now profit for him right now is not money. Profit for him is leisure, is time to go fishing. If he can figure out how to do what he wants to do, then more efficiently, then he can have more time to go fishing. So innovation came into play because of the profit motive. Okay, so let's see what happens.
Pretty soon, word gets around to the housewives who want shorter, easier wash days and cleaner clothes.
Okay, the housewives want shorter, easier cleaning days and washing days and cleaner clothes. They're not there to help Freddie. They don't care about Freddie. They are there for their own self-interest. Easier wash day, cleaner clothes, stuff like that.
Freddie's soap is just what they need. He invests his
Okay, so notice, all right, all those women were there for their own economic self-interest. They were not there to help Freddie, and yet they went there and bought a bunch of Freddie stuff. And now Freddie looks at all this moolah and goes, hey, my profit motive might be shifting. Okay, so we've got profit motive. We've got invisible hand helping, each other, even though they're acting in their own self-interest. Now we're about to see investment. And we'll see all these things several times.
He invests his profits in larger quarters and new equipment to make enough soap to satisfy the demand. Finally, his dreams come true.
He finally gets to go fishing. But wait.
Time off for fun on Saturday. Hey, Freddie, a guy can fish anytime.
At 23 skidoo.
Goodbye, Freddie.
Hopelessly in love, he wants to make good in a big way. So, back to work.
I freaking love that. Okay, because Jeremy said, yeah, he has enough capital to buy a boat and go on a fishing trip, but he doesn't. His profit motive has shifted yet again. He originally wanted to go fishing. Then it was earn more money. And now he wants to make good in a big way. All right? So his profit motive has shifted yet again. All right? He is now working even more to impress, to show off, to win the affections of someone and so forth, because you got to be a good provider and yada, 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 right? So notice he hasn't gone fishing yet.
As the company grows, it brings the railroad and other businesses to town. Increased property taxes from the thriving community help to build better schools, streets, parks, libraries, playgrounds, and waterworks. Taxes even help to provide more and better governmental services, such as police protection.
Now, this is key, all right? So first of all, we see the invisible hand going on here, right? By just saying, hey, because all this business is happening, they're able to collect taxes, and with taxes, they can provide governmental services, right? So, great. Yeah, no, Aaron, I'm with you. This is all about, the capitalism and economic discussion. Totally. Now, here's what I really like, and I want you to embrace this idea. When you think about what they just said, they say that because free economic business and capitalism is thriving, they are able to charge taxes. And with taxes, they provide governmental services. So you notice here that the root of governmental services is free economic business and capitalism. So when you look at the debate between conservatives and progressives, you really see this as a dividing point. The reason that conservatives don't want to tax corporations and so forth is not because they're in bed with the corporations and the PACs and all that sort of. Don't get me wrong, that's totally in the cards, right? But it's because of this philosophy. The better business is, the more jobs we create, the more economic growth we experience, the more taxes we're going to collect, and therefore the more services we can provide. Therefore, government services are the result of free economic enterprise. Whereas the progressives, they feel otherwise. They're kind of like, okay, listen, you're providing all this and so forth, but that's not the role. Government should not be kind of an outgrowth of business, because then our priorities are set wrong. And we can go on and more about that later on. We will, okay? We will. But just to kind of show you, that's kind of the mindset. Let's see. Aaron says it's a difference in economic perspectives along the two opposing camps. Totally. Right. Yeah. More the trickle down. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Let's keep going.
Before long, Freddie becomes a successful businessman.
Doesn't he look like a successful businessman? I think this is really fascinating because they're doing this as tongue-in-cheek, in jest. But, baby, I've been there. I spent 25 years in the corporate sector. I know what it's like. And you're going to notice that this poor sod never goes fishing. Never. Okay? Business becomes the driver. The profit motive pushes us even when we don't need to be pushed. We are going to talk about this in some depth going forward in these lectures, but this poor guy is now a cog in the system and is pretty beholden to it.
And incidentally, a successful husband and father. Fudsy's expanding company creates all kinds of jobs that never existed before. To increase production and sales, Fudsy builds up a strong labor management team. Each year, he invests a portion of his profits in research to develop better soap that can be made to sell at lower prices.
Okay, 2 points here. Invisible hand. Because he's so successful, he's having to hire people. It's not like he woke up one day and said, I want to hire people. No. He needs to hire people for his own self-interest, and yet that helps the system. And then investing in better soap so he can sell at lower prices. This is free market. This is investment of capital. All these principles coming into play.
The Fudsy Company continues to grow with the years because it makes a good soap, which in competition with others sells at a fair price. Competition forces each manufacturer to improve his product, to sell it for less, and to give the consumer more for $1 than his competitor. And Fudsy is hard to beat.
Good old classic free market competition, right? Cheaper, better, all that good stuff.
Finally, he gets so many orders, he realizes that one factory simply can't meet the demand. His profit motive starts sparking to figure out a way to increase production. He forms a corporation and issues stock to raise money to build factories from coast to coast.
Okay, now we're getting into investment of capital in a whole new way. Now he wants to sell stock. In the past, he just invested his own profits. That's great. That's fantastic. However, he wants to grow big. He wants to grow really big. And simply investing his own profits is not going to be enough. So he needs to sell stock. And this is how companies go ballistic. Right? When you look at the biggest companies in the world, well, not the world, but some of the biggest companies, you're looking at Google with ABC and Amazon and Facebook and so on and so forth. And these companies are brand spanking new. Amazon is brand spanking new. Started in like 92 or something. And yet today it's worth 100 trillion billion gazillion dollars. How does that work? Investment. All right. They never even made a profit for most of their life. They've only recently started to make a profit. And even then, they just kind of throw back into the company. So investment is how this works.
Futsy's employees have faith in his management and back him with their savings. Banks loan depositors money to help finance the expansion program. Insurance companies loan the funds of their policyholders to help build the factories. Stock exchanges act as a clearinghouse for people from all walks of life to buy securities. Before long, everybody gets plenty of soap. At last, Fudsy's success is complete. Soap City. The profit motive, which drove Fudsy to accomplish so much, may bring out the evil as well as the good.
Hello? Fudsy, old boy, I've got a great idea. Between us, we control 70% of the country's soap sales.
Yeah, but quiet. Let's see what's cooking.
I smell trouble. Let's raise and fix our prices. Controlling 70% of the market where we'll clean up.
Terrific. We'll make millions. Here we go. Quiet. Okay, Sam. It's a deal.
You'll be sorry.
Okay, let's be real clear about what's happening. Okay, so Sam calls Fudsy and says, hey, between the two of us, you put us together, we control 70% of the market, meaning that, 70% of all the soap that's sold out there, we make. Now, if we raise our prices and then fix them, that means that we are going to make a ton of money because we control 70% of the market. It's going to be phenomenal, okay? Yes, stress is hitting his hairline. Yeah, notice Fudsy's becoming short and bald and heavy, right? Yeah, it's starting to get to him. Okay, so he's now going into price fixing and collusion, which are illegal. But now let's watch what happens.
Fudsy and Sam Sudso raise and fix prices, but the result is not what they expect. A competitor comes along with a good bar of soap that sells at a lower price. Since shoppers always seek maximum value, only the lower priced soap sells, while Fudsy and Sam Sudso's profits turn into losses. 99 times out of 100, competition works. When it doesn't, the government steps in to prevent monopolistic attempts.
Okay, what we just saw there was the concept of laissez-faire. Interesting that the video said 99 times out of 100, free market systems work. When it doesn't, the government can step in. Now, as we all know, 73% of all statistics are made up. And so whether or not it's truly 99 times out of 100, the free market system works. But this is an example of them espousing laissez-faire. You don't need to regulate price fixing and collusion and so forth because, look, they tried to do it and they totally got burned. The free market will take care of itself. Okay? Now, watch what happens in this next scene.
That was a tough break. Now the next time...
Okay, I love this because what the video just said is Fudsy is now a saint. Why is he a saint? Because he found religion or he learned his lesson through the courts and served time in jail? No, he's a saint because of the profit motive. He wants to keep making money. And when he went against ethical behavior, he lost money. Therefore, he is going to make ethical decisions because ethical decisions will maximize profits. That's the idea behind laissez-faire. That is absolutely the idea, is that you don't need to regulate or, legislate morality and ethics because the market and profit motive will always press people to make the decision that will maximize their profits. And in this case, according to this, ethical behavior maximizes profits. Yeah, Jeremy, you got my joke. Yeah, 73% of all statistics are made up. Exactly.
Only a business operating at a steady profit can give its workers security and employee benefits. Operating at a profit, a business can provide the employee with comfortable, colorful working conditions, high wages, and steady employment, first aid and health protection, accident and life insurance, time off for vacation. The employee working for a profitable business can maintain a savings account, own his own home, and have plenty of leisure to enjoy the peace and quiet of family life.
This is just all good classic invisible hand going on. Is because the business is operating at a profit, the company can provide all this stuff. Now, I want you to notice something. It talked about first aid and health care, okay? Right now, our healthcare system is all based around employment. The only real way you can get healthcare is either elderly, veteran, or disabled, right? And that was because of some legislation, Medicare back in 1960 or something. I forget what year it was. Or employment, okay? Employment. And notice it's the large companies that can offer employment. Small company or can offer health care. Small companies cannot really offer health care anymore. It's just too danged expensive. And so this is one of the issues that we're running into in our world today, or at least in our country today, because we want to provide everybody with health insurance, but our system right now is all about providing that through employers. Now, there's a really cool podcast out there called Throughline. It's an NPR podcast, I believe, called Throughline, and they recently did an episode about why it is that today our system is employer-based and not, say, government or private-based, okay? And Aaron, I'll answer your question here in a moment.
Investors receive fair dividends, they are eager to supply industry with a steady flow of capital to create new tools and plants, which in turn create new jobs. With business prosperous and employment high, the farmer has a ready and profitable market for the sale of his produce. When businesses all over the country operate at a steady profit, our economic health is tops.
When all the companies are operating at a steady profit, our economic health is tops. Yeah. So there you saw all the aspects of capitalism at play, right? You saw profit motive, laissez-faire, private capital, free markets, invisible hand, all that. Now, Aaron, you asked, what's this called? I'll tell you what I'll do. So the name of it is Going Places. I actually downloaded it from, there's this really great website called archive.org right here. Archive.org. If you go out to archive.org, you can find this video. Or if you just go to YouTube, you can find it there. It's hugely interesting. I think it's great. Okay, now, by the way, in all that, I saw 2 more real-world examples and 2 references to past lectures. Excellent, excellent. Okay, and come on, you. No, I'm in the wrong thing again. All right, here's our last quote. We're wrapping up. Here's a quote, and then we'll talk about the next lecture. This one is from Henry Rollins. He was the lead singer of Black Flag, a punk rock group back in the day. He has a great origin story, Henry Rollins. I love capitalism. It rewards me for being brave. It awards me for being innovative and thinking out of the box. And if you're really curious, Google Henry Rollins' Big Think. So it's a YouTube series, Big Think. And you'll see kind of his origin story, how he started, and you'll see how, yeah, he has really benefited from capitalism. Yeah, totally. Okay, so then let's come back, and so we're all wrapped up. Fantastic work. You got 2 10s. That's great. Let's talk about the next lecture. The next lecture is scheduled for this Thursday. But now, wait, hold on. We have spring break this Thursday. Yes, we do. But I am going to provide the lecture anyway, just because I want to. All right. And there just wasn't a good, easy way to do this one otherwise, right? So this is what you have several options. You can still attend Thursday, and we'll just do this, and it'll be about 45 minutes long, and you can attend, and it's great. Or you can pull it up later on, because of course, as you know, these are recorded. Or you can go out to YouTube and see the lecture that I did last semester, which is already out there. So if you wanted to do the assignment, say, early, you could, today, tomorrow, that sort of thing. You could go out right now. Let's do this. Discard. And I will pull up the lecture out on YouTube. That way you can use that one should you so choose. So, all right, let me get my head on straight. I have been really discombobulated today, haven't I? That's like, oh, wrong one. Come back here. YouTube. Okay. All right. So, remember, this is my YouTube channel, and down here I have 1050 student support. So if I open up 1050 student support and I hit pause because it just starts playing one right away, we have all the lectures from last semester, last few semesters. I believe this one that we're doing, whatever module we're in, here we go. Foundations of Capitalism. I believe we're in module 7. So I think that this one right here has the particular lecture. So let me just pull it up real quick. And I'll pause. Okay. And let's see if I can find our agenda. Yes. Okay. This is the one. So module 7, The American Economic System by David M. Potter. That is the one. So those are your 3 options. You can either attend my live stream on Thursday, regular time, be about half hour, 45 minutes, or you can watch the recording later on, or you can pull up this recording anytime and get that done, right? And so that sets things up. Now, that sets things up for the lecture on Thursday. Mason is now asking, can we get some info on the signature assignment? Yes, let's totally do that. If we come back over here and we sign in, let's pull up the signature assignment. Now, the signature assignment, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just go out to syllabus here and just go directly on down to the signature assignment. It's really just a paper that asks you to consider, one of these statements. Not all of them, right? These are just things to kind of help spur your thinking, get you thinking about it. So, for example, if we ask ourselves, here, let me blow this up a little bit. Which readings affected you the most? Why? How? How do specific concepts you've learned about in this course enhance concepts you learned about in a different course? Some of you have already made those connections, right? How has the course changed specific thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes you had before taking the course? How have you applied the course material to your own working situation, personal life? You don't answer all of these. Choose one or something like one of these, and you explore it in your paper. Remember I provide a word count just as kind of a baseline, but you don't need to be, tied to that word count. That's discussed in my syllabus. The whole idea is simply I want to see that you're taking the readings and applying them to your life and thinking about them. Now, that being said, we're only halfway through the semester. You may, in fact, not use readings that we've done thus far. The readings that are in the second half of the semester, I actually think are more interesting. And so it may be the readings that you use or that we go through in the second half of the semester have more meaning to you. That's why what you're doing here, let's come back over to the syllabus. In this outline that you have coming up, this is just a rough outline. By October 23rd, all you're doing is putting together rough thoughts. Nothing more, okay? In this particular signature assignment, you have the main assignment, but then before that, you have a first draft, but then before that, you have a rough outline. These are just forcing functions that I use to get you to start thinking about things and so forth. So when we get closer to the rough outline, I'll go into more detail, but basically the rough outline is exactly what it sounds like. Just a few lines, a few words, an outline for a paper that you will then build out later on. Okay. So Mason, I just gave a bunch of information, but I may not have answered any question that you have specifically. So are there any specific questions or any specific information I can provide to help you out on this? If so, go ahead and leave me a comment there. And so otherwise let's see, Mason, that helped. I was curious about the outline. Yeah, rough outline, man. If I were doing this, I would do an outline of introduction, and then I'd write a sentence about which one of these questions am I going to explore. And then I'd have a section that says body, and I would bring up 3 or 4 things that I will discuss. And then I'd have a section that says conclusion, and then I'd write a sentence saying, I'm going to offer a conclusion. That's it. It's that simple. Okay. So, that is everything for today. If I see you on Thursday, then I will see you on Thursday. If I don't see you on Thursday, have a fantastic spring break. Enjoy your time. And yes, bullet addressing topics of interest. Absolutely. Enjoy your time and spring break. And if I don't see you Thursday, then I'll see you next Tuesday. All right? Have a fantastic day. Fall break. Yeah, fall break. Thanks.